Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be joining from in the world that we live in. I'm going to be presenting on the topic of online child safety, and this one is designed for parents, teachers, guardians, anyone really with a duty of care over children, to help them understand some of the challenges and risks that are faced in this new technological world that we find ourselves in, where most kids are actually more educated than adults. So, any good presentation starts with a who am I, and this is who I am. I'm Dale, but my online alter ego is the cyber safety guy, and that comes from the fact that I was previously in the Royal Air Force Police for 22 years, and I started as a general policeman, and my career went down the route of cyber because I've always been a geek. When I was growing up, I used to destroy the toys to see how they worked. I wasn't very good at putting them back together again, though. So parents were often quite disappointed with that at Christmas time. But it did give me a passion for computers and all things geeky. And that's why the last 8 years of my career were doing incident response and digital forensics. Unfortunately, being a policeman, part of that job was to investigate criminal web browsing, which, without going into detail, included analysing images that were not very nice for me or my team to have to investigate. Due to the fact I did that for so long, I was medically discharged from the RAF Police in 2019 with CPTSD, which I still battle with today. But it's also the reason why I'm so passionate about well-being, about mental health, but more importantly about online child safety. And I've been blogging now on the Cyber Safety Guy blog for must be about 8 or 9 years now. But it's one of the things that helps to get me through a lot of the days is the fact that if I can help one person out there protect their child online, then I've done enough. But hopefully I'm managing to reach a few more than that, and you'll get some benefit out of this presentation. The little legend on the screen there is my dog Leffy, who we got around the time that I was diagnosed. I call my wife my rock because she is what has supported me and got me this far in my journey. And when she's not around, this little guy I call my pebble because he takes over the duties of looking after me. And he's also the best therapist because I can talk to him about anything and I know that I'm not damaging him. So let's get over to what we're here to talk about. And that is the new world we find ourselves in. When I was growing up, the stranger danger talk was really easy, and anyone could have that talk and talk to a child about the fact that you don't get into a stranger's car, you don't talk to strangers, you don't take sweets off them and then get into their van and get driven off, right? And that was something that parents, teachers and what have you were very comfortable about talking about because they understood it. So it was one of those things that I always knew, what was bad and what not to do to protect myself. The evolution now of technology means that the hunting ground that sexual predators have got has just grown exponentially. They also have now an ability in the fact that they don't have to take that high risk action of going out into the world, approaching children and risk being seen doing what they're trying to do. So they now have this online environment where they can pretend to be anyone they want. They could be Johnny age 10 from down the road, from the next town over, and they can take months and months to build a relationship with a child, to the point that that child then one night decides they're going to go and meet Johnny, their mate Johnny, who they've known for 6 months and get on really well with. And the first thing that you as parents or guardians will know is the next day when you go to look for your kid and they're nowhere to be found. And that's the nicest way I can put it, because I've seen through these eyes what happens in the next step after that. And I, for one, want to be able to help you to prevent that happening, prevent your child becoming a statistic, and prevent you from having to go through what parents have had to go through in the past. Because this is a life sentence for you, and it is a life sentence for your kid if they become a victim of these people. And that's something I want to help you try and avoid. So I put that across in that way for a particular reason. I want you to realize just how serious this is, and why you need to be as educated as you can on the topic of online child safety. Because if you're relying on schools and what have you to do that, then you need to know that they don't all teach these subjects at the same standard. So you need to take a really big responsibility on the safety of your own child if you want to try and help them to grow up in the world that they're growing up in now. And as a parent, the excuse of, I don't know what my kids are up to online, that's simply not going to cut it anymore. You have to put the effort in to learn what's going on. So let's get blunt about this. And as I've just said there, we need to be blunt about it, because you need to understand the threats that kids face online today. And the first one, I think, is the fact that they've got unfettered access. You know, they have smartphones and computers. They have access to the internet. They have access to apps and app stores, social media. And it means that, unlike when we were kids, we were safe once we were inside after dark. You know, the old adage of once the street lights come on, you better be home. So that was nice and easy back then. But these days, there's no such boundaries. And if they have a phone and they have access, then anyone can contact them at any time. And that may sound scary, and it should, because, you know, if you're not putting boundaries in place, then how do you combat it? And that's some of the things that we're going to cover as we go through the presentation. Another one is malware and blackmail. And malware, a lot of people associate malware and viruses with just someone trying to get hold of your emails or, you know, get into your social media messages. But there is a much darker side to that when you start to talk about online predators. Because they're using malware to basically gain remote access to your children's devices. And that means that they're getting access to the computers and smartphones, but they're getting access to webcams, microphones, cameras on phones, turning them into listening devices and, you know, viewing devices, so that they're literally in the same room. And the worst of it is they will then use those to record videos and pictures, but they don't just stop there. They then use those images to blackmail children into much more extreme actions, and they will keep upping the ante. And that's because these, I use the term loosely, people, these predators, they are in groups where they egg each other on. I've done blog posts on the groups like that before, but they egg each other on to higher and higher and more extreme and depraved acts. And your child is nothing more than an avatar and a toy to them. They do not care about your child's feelings, and they will do exactly what they want, and they will try to get exactly what they want from it. So can you imagine the fear and shame that instills in a child when they get caught in that trap and they start to get blackmailed, in that, you know, they threaten to release images to you as parents or their friends or their family. And the sad thing is that it has led to the loss of children's lives in the past. And there's a butterfly effect to this, which I've mentioned in blog posts before. It's not just the child, although the child, if they survive, will have a life sentence. They'll be dealing with that for the rest of their lives. There's you as family who will have to support them, who will be dealing with it for the rest of their lives. There's the therapists who have to speak to your kid and help your child through it and listen to their experience. There's the police officer who might have had to analyze any images that were captured and has to try and process that. So the butterfly effect is real, and it does affect a lot of people. Online grooming, that's a process of the the predator building trust with your kid over time, and sometimes that might just be over a few hours, or it might be something that they do over months to achieve their ultimate goal of of abducting your child, and that's something that you need to realize. The reasons that they want to meet a child are not good reasons, obviously, and I don't need to go into any more detail than that, because the fact that you're here watching this presentation means that you care about your kid and you want to protect them. So I don't need to use anything that extreme to get to that point, right? But if you want any more evidence of the fact that it is dangerous, then look into the Breck Foundation. And the story behind that, because that's where a mother lost her 14-year-old son in 2014 to an 18-year-old predator he met through online gaming. And it can happen in various online spaces, not just social media. Cyberbullying, the playground back in my day, you could leave the bullies at school and not worry about them again until the next day. But these days, because of the access that the online world gives them, the cyberbully is the new playground bully. And you need to watch for your child becoming withdrawn or acts differently. Consider that they might be experiencing some cyberbullying there. The digital footprint, this is one that is extremely important, because you need to be educating your child that anything that they post online or share or comment on, it becomes part of their digital footprint, and that's going to follow them around forever. It's extremely difficult to remove things once they're online. It can be done, but once it starts to get shared all over the place, it's nigh on impossible. So as soon as you press submit or send, you lose control over whatever you've sent. You need to explain to them how important this is, because it can impact their future quite drastically. There isn't an employer now who doesn't check the social media or online footprint of a prospective employee. Same goes for colleges and universities. And they need to realize that anything they post now, they need to be happy that they can justify that if it comes to it in the future. So personal information like full names, addresses, phone numbers, or school information, they should be told, don't share that online unless it's for a valid reason to a valid organization. Online scams and fake identities. Children increasingly being targeted by scams through email, social media, and gaming platforms. They need to, as we all do, they need to learn not to click on unknown links or download suspicious files, or respond to messages promising prizes or money, or the prince who's trying to get $400 million out of his country and he needs your help to do it. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So that's just something they need to be aware of. It's also really easy for abusers and online predators to create false identities that are called catfishing, or they can create fake profiles, or they use spoofing technology. Deepfake and AI these days means, as I say, that they can create some really genuine videos that make them out to be someone famous, or one of their idols. Effectively, they can pretend to be that. They also use enlist third parties to harass people. So tactics known as trolling, which you'll have heard of. It can include doxing, which is to release personal information, which then makes them a target to a wider audience. And there's one that's more prevalent in America, but it does happen here in the UK, is swatting. And that's when someone, normally in the gaming world, someone gets annoyed because they've been beaten by someone, and if they know where they live, they'll call the police or the emergency services, say that there's weapons involved at that location, and next thing you know, the armed police are turning up at that person's house, and that can make it a really dangerous environment for the kid. So if you've been following my blog for any period of time, you will know that this is one that I bang on about regularly, because it's probably one of the simplest ways to combat a lot of what I've discussed and what I blog about. Is it's trivial for kids these days to hide information or to hide the activities that they're getting up to, because encryption, there's fake apps, there's parent mode on apps and stuff where they click a button quickly, or they press a button quickly, and the screen changes completely so that when a parent walks by, they see what the kid wants them to see. They have 2 or 3 social media accounts for each platform, and you're probably only aware of one of them because that's the one they want you to be aware of. So you basically need to have open and honest communications in place really early with them, so that don't be judgmental either. So you need them to want to come to you when they feel that something isn't right, or they have a question about something, because you want to be answering that question rather than their mates or some dodgy forum on the internet that gives out advice that you wouldn't want them getting. So have the conversations with them, have a genuine interest in what they're doing. Make it something that is just natural. And I've done a couple of videos on my YouTube about this, about how to have the chat. But from a high level, here's some tips about how to approach these sort of conversations. Just make it natural and regular. Integrate the discussions about their online life into daily conversations, just like you would if you were asking about how their day at school was. And because that makes them feel more relaxed and comfortable sharing things with you. Be curious but not critical, and approach that conversation with an open mind. If you're being judgmental or angry, they're immediately going to shut down, and they're not going to come to you with things in the future. They're not going to want to have that chat with you. Ask them about what their favorite online activity is, what games they're playing, what apps they're using, and why. And then ask them to show you how things work. Make it look like you have that interest and you want them to teach you about these things, because they're sometimes the best teachers about the new apps that come out and what capabilities they have. Listen more than talk. Really difficult one for me. I genuinely am rubbish at this, but it's something that you need to do. You need to listen to them more than you talk, because it's a really good technique that we actually got taught when I was training to be a policeman in interviews. If you allow for silences, then the natural human instinct is to fill those silences, which I do really well. But it also might be that they're thinking about how to phrase something that's a bit sensitive. So just don't interrupt them. Leave those natural silences to allow them the opportunity to get out what they're trying to say. Provide context. Don't just say, don't do that. You need to explain to them why you don't want them to do something. Give them the context around it. Give them the information that surrounds it, what those risks are. Obviously, it could be that it's age inappropriate. It could even be that it's illegal, so give them the information that they need so that they can critically think and assess situations for themselves, because they will then use that the next time they face something, or they'll know that they can come to you and ask you about it. Reassure them, let them know that you're interested in their life and you're there to help protect them. If something doesn't feel right, you want them to come to you for advice rather than try to hide it, because if they try to hide it, they'll probably be successful in doing so. Discussing family values. Remind them of your family values. Remind them of how they should be treating others the way they would want to be treated themselves. Just the stuff that I was brought up with, and I'm sure you're all brought up with. Just instill those sort of morals in the child, and it will help them. Just because others are doing something doesn't mean it's something that they should be doing right. And handle punishments carefully. I'm not here to tell people how to parent, but I'm going to give you advice on why you may want to consider it. And that's if your child comes to you about something that they've done wrong or that they've seen online, especially if it was an accident, and they didn't do it deliberately. Don't immediately take away devices, because the fear of punishment will make them hide things in the future. And as I've said, if they want to hide something, very easy to do these days. There's technology that makes it very easy to do it these days, available on most of the app stores. So these are the principles that you want to teach your children, regardless of age, and just adapt them to your child's understanding. Don't talk to strangers, online or in the real world. The stranger danger is just as important these days than it was in our day. It's just a bit more complicated. So have those discussions. Don't be afraid to have those discussions. If you don't understand it, learn it, or speak to someone, or look at some of my blog posts about how to have that chat. Keep personal details private. Never give out your full name, address, phone number, or your school information to people they don't know. Think before you click. Don't accept files, images, or click on links from anyone unless it's a trusted source who they know or that you as their parents have vetted. Don't believe everything you see. Fake news, and this is one that's really important these days. But just because someone says they're 13 and they show you a picture of a 13-year-old, it doesn't mean that they're a 13-year-old. It could be a stock image. It could be a deep fake and AI generated. So really important that they understand that. Never meet online friends alone. They should never arrange to meet someone from the internet unless you as the parents are fully involved in that process. Make them understand that. Protecting their images and videos. Never send pictures or videos of themselves doing something that feels wrong or that they know is wrong. If they wouldn't be happy sending that image to you as a parent, then tell them they shouldn't be sending it online. They lose control of it forever, and it's out there for anyone to use however they see fit. Tell an adult. This is one that we had as a kid. If anyone asks them to do something or keep something secret or threatens them or basically makes them feel uncomfortable, tell them they have to approach a trusted adult straight away. The sooner they bring it up, then the sooner they can be protected and not go down the road of becoming a victim. Think before you post. It's a really important one. Everything they put online stays there for a long time and can affect their future in massive ways. And this one is a good one to stand by. It's be a good digital citizen. And it's effectively the online equivalent of treat others as you would want to be treated yourself. Report bullying or inappropriate content, or speak to an adult. So, whilst open and honest communication is, as I say, my go-to, there are technical solutions and tools that you can use to help protect kids. You have parental controls, as I've mentioned, and I have, as I say, lots of blog posts that you can go back and check on. If they need updating or you need updated information, reach out to me and let me know. But these are available across your home broadband, on computers, they're available on smartphones, and they're available on even gaming consoles now. Antivirus and security software, always keep that up to date, and it will help protect against malware, viruses, and phishing attacks. Virtual private networks or VPNs. There's a blog post that I actually created today on this, because with the online harms bill that was introduced and the new laws in place in the UK that mean that porn sites have to do age verification now, a lot of younger people now have started to download VPNs apps because it helps to circumnavigate those sort of restrictions. So this is one of those ones that has a double-edged sword to it, in that it is a security tool that is very good at helping protect privacy, but it can also be used for nefarious means. So use this, but also educate on why they're using it and what to use it for. There's a huge amount of resources available out there. I will put them on the screen, but basically there's a massive community of people out there who are working in cybersecurity and different elements of that and child protection, who are there trying to help you protect your kid. And I encourage you to use these resources, to go out there, to learn, to basically research things. You've got internetmatters.org, and they are, I can't say enough about how good they are. They're a brilliant organization. They have extensive information on child safety online. They have guides on grooming, on age-specific advice, and also app information, different apps. internetmatters.org, go there and have a look. You have CEOP, who are the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Command. And they're a proactive organization where you basically can make reports if you feel that something is wrong or doesn't feel right, or someone has targeted your child. They're your first stop. National Online Safety and Netwear, which is O2 and the NSPCC. They have really good websites focused on kids' internet safety and also how to set up devices and parental controls. If you can't find it on my blog, you'll find it there. You've got Google's Be Internet Awesome, which are interactive lessons and games for children between about the ages of 7 and 12. Common Sense Media, they offer comprehensive digital citizenship curriculum. I think they're American-based, but the information is really good. The Breck Foundation, as I mentioned earlier, learn about their story and the dangers of online gaming, because it comes from a mother's perspective, and it will help you to formalize how you speak to your kid about the dangers that are out there. So, in conclusion, I know that this can be really heavy and might open up new worries for you, but in my mind, being forewarned is to be armed basically with the knowledge and tools to mitigate the worst case scenarios, which I've mentioned throughout and which you'll read about on the blog. And that's what you want to be doing. You want to just have enough information to be able to protect your kid, and let them have enough information that they can protect themselves, so that they don't become the next statistic, or they don't become the next case that a police officer has to sit and analyze. The key takeaways are always the same for me: communication, collaboration, and asking questions. If you do those things and explain that there's no such thing as a stupid question, although I would argue the fact I've asked a few stupid questions in the past. But when it comes to child safety, I truly believe there are no stupid questions. Stay interested in their online life, stay current, that's important. Technology is flying ahead and you need to try and keep up with it, but I will try and help you with that as much as possible. And the organizations I mentioned before are there to help you as well. But more importantly, and most importantly, ensure that your child remains comfortable coming to you if they need help. You need to be their first port of call when they feel uncomfortable or they need assistance with something. Because if they start to hide things, you've immediately lost that ability to keep them safe. Keep fighting the good fight is something that I have to tell myself a lot of the time. And I doing these blog posts and stuff, they can trigger me and they can hurt me sometimes, but I keep doing it because if I can help one person protect a kid, then it's been worth it. But as I've said before, the mere fact that you've watched till this point in the presentation, it means that you care about their safety, and that is, that's the first step, is caring. And a lot of what I see in this current world is people don't care, and that's when bad things start to happen. So if you've got any comments or questions, I am always happy to to be reached out to have a chat if it's on this subject, and I will always be available to you to help answer any questions. I love getting emails from people with feedback and with stories about how it's helped them. It's the thing that keeps me going. Please do share this video with other parents, other teachers, or just anyone who you think would benefit from watching it. And subscribe to my YouTube channel or my blog, and you will get access to all sorts of content and advice as I create it going forward. But thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I will catch you again soon.